Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 1,220th regular meeting and public hearing of the Livonia City Planning Commission. I wish to inform all interested persons in our audience that for petitions that are on tonight's agenda involving a question of zoning, the Planning Commission will make a recommendation to the City Council, and the City Council, after holding their own public hearing, will make the final determination as to whether a petition is approved or denied. The Planning Commission holds the only public hearing on requests for preliminary plats and/or vacating petitions. The Commission's recommendation is forwarded to City Council for the final determination as to whether the petition is accepted or rejected. If a petition requesting a waiver of use or a site plan is denied tonight, the petitioner will have 10 days in which to appeal the decision in writing to City Council. Resolutions adopted by the City Planning Commission become effective 7 days after the date of adoption. The Planning Commission and professional staff have reviewed these petitions upon their filing. Staff has furnished the Commission with both approving and denying resolutions, which the Commission may or may not use depending on the outcome of the proceedings tonight. If our Secretary is ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Bonjero. Here. Mr. Long.
Here.
Is absent. Droz is absent. Mr. Ventura.
Is here.
Caremagno's here. Chairman Wilshaw.
Is also here. Thank you. And also with us tonight, we have Jacob Uhazi, and we also have Stephanie Reese from our Planning Department. And for the folks in our audience that may have not been to one of our meetings previously, the format of the meeting is we'll read out each of these items that are on our agenda tonight. Our planning staff will give background information about the item. We'll ask that the petitioner then come forward to speak to their petition. We may have questions for them as well. And then we'll have an opportunity for folks in the audience to give comments for or against if they wish to do that. And then we'll make our decisions. So with that, we're going to begin with the public hearing section of our agenda, item number 1.
Petition 2024-09-02-14 submitted by the Learning Tree, requesting waiver use approval pursuant to section 6.13 of the Livonia zoning ordinance to operate a daycare nursery at 37400 7 Mile Road, located in the northeast corner of Newburgh Road and 7 Mile Road in the southwest quarter of section 5.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And before I go to our planning staff, I did want to just make a quick note. If there is anyone in our audience who is interested in the item number 4, which is the sheets item, that item is the petitioner has requested that item be tabled. So if you're here for that, there's not going to be any discussion tonight on that item. So I just want to let you know, so if you don't want to sit through the whole meeting, you don't have to. Again, yep, October 22nd will be the date for that now.
October 22nd?
Yes.
7 p.m.?
Correct. Alrighty. Yeah, thank you. So with that, I'm going to now move to our planning staff to give background information on the Learning Tree. Thank you.
Thank you. This request from the Learning Tree to operate a daycare nursery at 37400 7 Mile Road. It is located on the northeast corner of Newburgh Road and 7 Mile, which is currently zoned C1 general business. It's currently zoned C1 for local business. To the north, C is zoned C1 and RUF. To the east is zoned C1 and RUF as well. Across 7 Mile is zoned C1, and across Newburgh Road is zoned C2. The existing site conditions include a 1-story commercial building on 1.54 acres of land. The building footprint is 12,684 square feet in size. It was built in 1976 and last occupied by Brose Electric. The petitioner also owns the site to the north. Under section 6.13 of the zoning ordinance, requires daycare centers have a 5,000 square foot area of outdoor play. The site plan shows two separate outdoor play areas, one off the east and one off the west end. Both play areas measure 40 by 72 feet for a total play area of 5,760 square feet. Both of the play areas would be surrounded by a 6-foot white vinyl fencing. The Learning Tree anticipates a max of 160 children and 22 staff. The age range would be from 6 months old to 12 years. And the floor plan shows a vestibule lobby, reception area, 9 classrooms, a kitchen, and restrooms. For parking and access, daycares require 1 parking space per employee plus enough off-street parking for safe and convenient loading of students. The site plan shows 43 spaces. And to address a comment that will be received later from the police department, we reviewed the parking standards, and in the ITE parking manual recommends 3.3 spaces per 1,000 square feet of general floor area, gross floor area, which comes to 34 spaces. There are 2 vehicular access points provided, one off Newburgh Road as well as one off 7 Mile. A dumpster enclosure with housing for 1 dumpster would be located in the northeast corner of the site. Walls of the dumpster enclosure would be 6 feet high and made of masonry brick. There would be some elevation changes to the building. On the north, there would be an addition of 3 exterior doors and 4 aluminum storefront windows. To the east, 3 doors and 2 window additions. To the south, 1 new door and 3 new windows. And to the west, the addition of 4 doors. For landscaping, the zoning ordinance requires 7 trees and 3 ornamental and 56 shrubs along 7 Mile. The landscape plan shows 3 evergreen and 4 deciduous trees, 6 ornamental trees, and 56 shrubs along 7 Mile. And for Newburgh, the zoning ordinance requires 4 trees, 2 ornamental, 33 shrubs, and the landscaping plan shows 3 trees plus 1 existing, 2 ornamental, and 33 shrubs. One thing to note, one of the other addresses from the correspondence from the fire department was safety concerns of the western playground, and the petitioner has submitted a new site plan and landscape plan with the addition of boulders to buffer that area. These would be 3-foot landscaping boulders in between the trees and the fencing. And lastly, they provided a photometric plan that does comply with the zoning ordinance. And then I also have correspondence from staff.
Sure, if you'd like to read that out.
All right. All taxes and payments are current on this property. Thank you for inquiring. Signed, Susan Nash, City Treasurer. I have reviewed the address connected with the above-noted petition. As there are no outstanding amounts receivable, general or sewer and water, I have no objections to the proposal. Signed, Connie Cupola, Chief Accountant. From Inspection Department, pursuant to your request, the above referenced petition was reviewed. The petition will need to apply for a zoning compliance permit and submit a detailed floor plan for the proposed use. If this projection moves forward, permits and inspections will be required for the fencing and relocation of the dumpster enclosure. The department has no further objections to this petition. Signed, Jerome Hanna, Director of Inspection. From the Police Department, I have reviewed the plans in connection with this petition. I have 2 areas of concern. After reviewing the provided plans, the location of the proposed playground on the west side of the building is close proximity to Newburgh Road, a major roadway in the city. Frequently in our city, traffic crashes occur where vehicles leave the roadway as a result of the crash, especially at intersections. Due to the close proximity to the proposed playground to the roadway, I fear a vehicle could potentially enter the playground after a crash and cause harm to the children. While a few trees are planted in that area, I believe more precautions should be taken to prevent this. Secondly, this proposal lacks the required parking according to city ordinance. It also appears that 2 of the proposed parking spaces may be impeded by the placement of a dumpster. While parking is generally short-term in a child care center for parents to drop off and pick up their children, there will be peak periods of time when most parents will be doing so, requiring a lot of parking be available. Signed, Paul Walters, Sergeant of the Traffic Bureau. From the Fire Marshal's Office, the office has reviewed the site plan submitted in connection with a request to construct a commercial building on property located at the above referenced address. We have no objections to the proposal with the following stipulations. A life safety concern, and please advise on the official plan set. Due to a playground located on a major intersection along Newburgh Road, what safety measures can be taken to further protect this area playground if traffic vehicles come off the roadway and penetrate the area, putting human life in danger? A further detailed plan review will take place when the division receives an official plan set. Signed, Brian Kukla, Fire Marshal. And finally, from the Engineering Department, in accordance with your request, the Engineering Division has reviewed the above referenced petition. We have no objections to the proposed waiver use at this time. The subject parcel is assigned the address 37400 7 Mile Road. The legal description submitted with the petition appears to be correct for the subject parcel. The existing parcel is currently served by public water main, sanitary sewer, and stormwater. The submittal does not include any changes to the existing utility leads, so we do not believe there will be any additional impacts to the public utilities with this proposal. Should changes to the existing building leads be needed, the owner shall submit proposed drawings to this department to determine if permits will be required. Also, should any work be required within the 7 mile right-of-way, the owner will be required to obtain permits from the Wayne County Department of Public Service. Signed, David Lear, Assistant City Engineer.
All right, thank you, Mr. Uhazy. Is there any questions for our planning staff? Dave?
Mr. Chair, Jacob, does the planning department feel there's enough parking spaces?
We feel that they do satisfy the requirements. We do typically defer to the the petitioner, and if they feel that it's, meets their needs, then we usually support their, they know better.
Because they're gonna have 22 employees, so they've got 43 spaces, but do we have any way to even judge the need for, you know what I mean, because they're dropping off, how many people really stick around?
That's why we went with the ITE parking generation manual, because that looked at several studies, looking at average times and how long. So according to that study, they're still above 10 spaces, or
Okay.
about 10 spaces above what they would recommend, so.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bonjero. Mr. Ventura?
Jacob, are we going to lose 2 parking spaces to the dumpster?
I think that'll be a question that have to be cleared up by the petitioner.
Okay. Secondly, these 3-foot boulders that they're proposing for the west side there, are these boulders that are going to be 3 feet high or 3 feet in diameter, or?
The site plan just identifies 3-foot landscaping boulders, but
Okay.
again, that just came in, I think, yesterday.
So we don't really know.
So, yeah, we will have to talk
Okay.
with them as well.
And I noticed on the site plan that the depiction of the fence on the east side and the west side are significantly different. But you're saying that this is going to be a 6-foot-high white vinyl fence on both sides.
I believe so. That's my understanding.
Okay, so we have to confirm that as well.
Yeah, and the image on the screen has a 6-foot-tall, solid white vinyl fence image.
It looks like there's some concrete, like a 3-foot
Yeah,
concrete
I
separation.
don't understand why it looks so different, but okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Ventura. Any other
Sure.
questions for planning staff? Okay, those are good questions that we can ask our petitioner. So with that, I will see our petitioners in the audience. Feel free to come forward to our podium up here. And you can start with your name and address, so we know who you are, and then you can tell us about your plan.
Hi, my name's Andrea Majeski, and I'm a regional director and managing partner for the Learning Tree.
Nice to meet you, Ms. Majeski. And who else do you have?
My name's Karen Ballard. I'm also a regional director.
Okay. And
I'm Scott Peruski, the civil engineer on the project with PEA Group.
okay, wonderful. So we have a good group of people here that can answer all our questions. Let's start with your plan. You want to put a learning tree there. What would you like to tell us about your proposal?
I guess that's me. So we have been in the city of Livonia since 1982 when we opened our first location in a Livonia public school. And we have partnered with the community for years, and it's home to us. And we currently have a location in a Livonia public school, but we are losing our lease, and they are moving us to another location farther away from where we're at right now. So the desire to purchase this building was to be able to still provide care to the families who were located closer to our existing building. Historically, families will only travel so far to a child care center and won't go far from the freeway or their house. And so this really was the perfect location for us to put down roots and establish so that families could still utilize us.
Okay. Very good. Anything else you'd like to let us know before we ask questions?
Of course. If I can add to that, the current location in the current Livonia Public School, it is licensed for 365 children a day, and it currently has about probably 250 to 270 a day. So this location with having about 160 to 75 children a day would be the perfect amount for families to transition over there that live in closer proximity to this location.
Okay, excellent. That's good information. I'm sure we're going to have some questions for you, so any of our commissioners have any questions for the petitioner? Mr. Bonjero?
Hello, kind of with Mr. Ventura, the boulder wall, I get it, that's a good measure to take for safety. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what is it exactly?
Sure. So we're taking a look at some options for how we could provide that security and that buffer on that west fence line. That fence line's about 50 feet from the northbound closest travel lane. So the landscape plans, we have a couple large trees, and we have these boulders. Clarifying the size, these would be like 3 foot by 3 foot diameter boulders. These weigh roughly 1,500 to 1,800 pounds. So the installation for these we'll key them into the ground maybe about 6 inches, and put no more than maybe 6 foot spacing between to make sure that motor vehicle or something could not actually fit through and would be obstructed
Would you be?
by more than at least one.
Okay. I see on the east side, there's a guard post on the very corner, which I get that for the cars if they're coming around that back driveway. Would you be opposed to returning the corner on each side of the west side play structure with more boulders? So, you know what I'm saying? Not just across the front, but take it around the sides too. I think it would be a good safety measure, so it's protected all the way around.
Yeah, absolutely. We could take a look at that.
Okay.
There's a bollard selected in the northeast corner, like you said, to protect that fence post.
Is there? I didn't see it.
It's right around the curve there where the fence post.
Oh, on the back.
In the
on
northeast,
east
in the
side,
back,
yeah.
yep.
On the west side, there's no bollards. I just see the
Correct.
boulders.
Yep.
So I'm just thinking that north and south side are kind of exposed, so maybe just take some boulders around there.
Yep,
Just-
we could consider wrapping them around.
Okay,
Um,
all right.
And another question that did come up on the east playground, what's noted on the drawings is there is a slight finished floor differential. There's a pedestrian door on the east elevation that is higher than the main finished floor. And in order to utilize that and incorporate that into the playground, that area will be filled about 1.5 or 2 feet with earth, and there will be a constructed knee wall that goes all the way around. That will be the basis for what the 6 foot fence will sit on.
Very good.
But, so just to clarify that they are the same shaped playground on both sides with the same fencing. One's gonna have boulders on the exterior for protection. The other one is gonna just exist on a manufactured knee retaining wall.
Thank you, Mr. Bonjero.
Thank you.
And yes, that door that's on the east side, that is right now almost like a loading dock door, is that correct?
Right.
Okay, so
There's
you're
an
gonna,
interior ramp, I believe, that gets up to that higher door elevation.
okay, all right, very good, thank you. Any other questions for our petitioner? Mr. Ventura?
Do you have a cross-easement agreement with the building to the east for their parking lot?
I don't believe there's any cross-access in place
No.
or connections proposed. The shape of the lot, there is a flag piece in the northeast corner, but there's no intentions of using that for ingress, egress, or
Do you have no agreement
access.
to do
No.
that, please?
Because that strip was available and the lot's already developed, we chose to put the dumpster and locate that in sort of that northeast alley area.
Right, and you also own the lot to the north. What are you gonna do with that?
We have no plans as of right now.
So it's just gonna sit there.
Yeah, and so the property was perfect location for us and perfect opportunity for what was happening with our center at LPS. And this sale was, they had several offers on it, but they had offers that were one or the other, and we purchased both of them because it was the perfect opportunity for us. So we don't have any plans for the empty lot right now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Ventura. Any other questions for our petitioner?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Caremagna?
I had a couple questions for you. What's the hours operation, days of operation for your school? Tell me a little about that.
Yep, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30.
No weekend activity?
No weekend activity.
Signage, what are you gonna do for signage there?
I'd like to do a monument sign and a building sign as well.
Okay. What are they, Jacob, what are they allowed, sign-wise?
Offhand, I would have to double check on it.
There wouldn't be any electrical lighting in the building sign.
Okay.
It would just have some kind of lower or upper lighting above it or below it.
Okay, so Jacob, they're allowed what they're allowed, and anything over that's gotta go to the ZBA?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, very good. The next question I've got is the doors. I know each room looks like they have an exterior door to get out, both from the hallway interior to the outdoors. If, in the event that you had to go outdoors, for whatever reason, the classrooms on the east and west side exit into the play area. Is there a way to get out of that play area too?
Yes, there'll be a gate.
There'll be a gate that'll be locked and ability to get out of there too. Okay, that's the only questions I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caremagna. Any other questions for our petitioner? I don't see any others. There was some, as I look through the notes on this item, there was a little bit of, or at least a note that that perhaps there would be a conditional agreement limiting this waiver use to your location. I'm not sure if that was discussed with you, but oftentimes when we get a petitioner that comes to us and would like to locate and get a waiver use for a particular building like this one for daycare center, what we like to do is if you are willing to enter into an agreement with the city, we would limit the use of that to your business. So that if for some chance down the road, 10, 20, 50 years down the road, you decide to locate to a different building, and another daycare center came to us, they would have to get approval from the city council. They wouldn't just be automatically granted to go in there because we know your background. We've been able to talk to you. We wouldn't necessarily understand that of a new petitioner. Is that something that you would be okay with entering into with the city, limiting that, the use to just your business?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to explain that to you if you weren't familiar with it and let you know kind of the process if you hear that mentioned later tonight, so you're aware of it. Thank you. Is there anyone in our audience wishing to speak for or against this petition? I don't see anybody jumping up. So is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we make our decision?
I think we're good.
Okay, well,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you coming tonight, and we will make our decision. So thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, I'll close the public hearing, and a motion would be in order.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Long.
I'd like to offer an approving resolution. This request to operate a daycare nursery learning tree at 37400 7 Mile Road is hereby approved, subject to City Council waiving the minimum size requirement for the outdoor play area and the following conditions. Number one, that the site plan as received by the Planning Commission on September 5th, 2024 is hereby approved and shall be adhered to. Number two, that only conforming signage is approved with this petition, and any additional signage shall be separately submitted for review and approval by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Number three, that no LED light band or exposed neon shall be permitted on this site, including but not limited to the building or around the windows. Number four, the tenants of this building shall not engage in any form of solicitation for business within the public rights of way of Farmington Road. Is that Farmington Road correct, or should that be Newburgh
Oh,
Road?
that should be Newburgh, or, I'm sorry.
Newburgh or 7 Mile?
Newburgh and 7 Mile, yes.
If we could make that. within the public rights of way of Newburgh or 7 Mile Roads. Number 5, that the entire outdoor play area shall be surrounded by 6-foot-high vinyl privacy fencing. Number 6, that the parking lot shall be repaired, resealed, and restriped to the satisfaction of the inspection department. Number 7, that the hours of operation for this child care facility shall be limited to 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. Number 8, that the petitioner shall enter into a conditional agreement limiting the waiver to this user only, with the provision to extend this waiver use approval to a new user only upon approval of the new user by City Council. Number 9, that the specific plan referenced in this approving resolution shall be submitted to the inspection department at the time the building permits are applied for. And number 10, pursuant to section 13.13 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended, this approval is valid for a period of 1 year only from the date of approval by the City Council, and unless a building permit is obtained, this approval shall be null and void at the expiration of said period.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Is there support?
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Long, supported by Mr. Bonjero. Is there any discussion on the motion? Mr.
Chairman.
Bonjero.
Go ahead.
Sure, Mr. Ventura.
I wonder if the petitioner would be willing to amend the approval resolution to include the construction of the boulder wall, both on the south and west perimeters of the western playground.
North too, probably.
And the north as well?
Yeah.
Okay. And the boulders should be placed on a base that will prevent the boulders from sinking into the ground so that they're no longer effective.
Okay. Would the maker of that be
The maker
agreeable?
would be willing to insert a provision calling for the boulders and for them to be established to the satisfaction of the inspection department.
Okay. And supporters good with that? All right. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Mr. Bonjero, did that cover your needs as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no other discussion, again, this is a approving motion by Long and Bonjero. If the secretary can please call the roll.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Bonjero. Aye. Mr. Ventura.
Aye.
Caremagno votes aye. Chairman Wilshaw.
Votes aye. Motion passes. We'll go to City Council with an approving recommendation. We wish you luck on your project. Thank you. Now we go on to item number 2 on our public hearing agenda.
Petition 2024-09-02-15, submitted by K. Romea Food Service LLC on behalf of Papa Romano's, requesting waiver use approval under section 6.03, 6.22, and 6.51 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended to operate a full-service restaurant with an on-premises Class C liquor license, which is the sale of beer, wine, and spirits for consumption on the premises, and an off-premises SDM liquor license, which is the sale of packaged beer and wine at 36127 and 36131 Plymouth Road, located on the south side of Plymouth Road between Yale and Levan Road in the northeast quarter of section 32.
That's a mouthful. Thank you. Mr. Uhazy.
Yes, the site is currently zoned C2 General Business, and the existing conditions for the site include that the restaurant would be located in the LA Plaza Retail Center. The restaurant would occupy 2 of these units in the western wing, close to the center of and facing Plymouth Road, identified on their site plan here. The site is approximately 4.80 acres with about 480 feet along Plymouth Road and 380 feet deep. The building has a gross floor area of about 36,350 square feet. And under the 6.51 of the zoning ordinance, there is requirement for waiver approval for full-service restaurants. And a full-service restaurant is defined as having over 30 seats. The floor plan identifies seating for 33. The 2 units would occupy total floor area of 2,800 square feet. The floor plan shows a large kitchen, walk-in cooler, restrooms, dining area, and bar counter. The dining area would have 6 4-top tables with seating for 24 and 9 bar seats with seating for 9. Under the, section 6.22 of the zoning ordinance, Class C liquor license are regulated and required to be 1,000 feet of distance between them, the closest point to the next, the distance between the establishment and the next closest establishment. And SDM licenses are regulated by section 6.03 of the zoning ordinance and requires a 500-foot distance. The Livonia Police Department has noted that the Livonia Wine Shop is less than 500 feet and has its own SDM license, as well as Punjab Suite and Time Out Bar, both have Class C licenses and are within 1,000 feet separation. These separations would need to be waived by City Council. SDM and Class C requirements both also require 400-foot separation from any churches or schools, and neither are located within the 400 feet of this site. Parking is based on the overall site parking. The existing parking is sufficient to accommodate this use. And no exterior modifications are planned for the building. And with
Okay.
that, I have some correspondence.
Yes, if you could read that.
The tax address is for the whole plaza, 36136 Plymouth, and they have an outstanding tax balance of $40,637.36. This is signed Susan Nash, the city treasurer. From the accounting department, I have reviewed the addresses connected with the above noted petition. As there are no outstanding amounts receivable, general or water, I have no objections to the proposal. Signed Connie Cupola, chief accountant. From the inspection department, pursuant to your request, the above referenced petition has been reviewed. The department has no objections to this petition. Signed Jerome Hanna, director of inspection. From the Chief of Police, Special Services Bureau, we reviewed the plan submitted by K. Romaya Food Service LLC on behalf of Papa Romano's requesting waiver use approval under sections 6.03, 6.22, and 6.51 of the Livonia zoning ordinances as amended to operate a full-service restaurant on-premise Class C liquor license, sales of beer, wine, and spirits for consumption on the premise, and an off-premises SDM liquor license, sales of packaged beer and wine at 36127 and 36131 Plymouth Road, located on the south side of Plymouth Road between Yale Avenue and Levan Road in the northeast 1/4 of Section 32. The review of the plans has determined that the request does not comply with the prior separation requirement guidelines. The proposed establishment is inside the separation requirement distance of at least 500 feet from any existing SDM liquor license established and 1,000 feet from any Class C liquor license establishment. Levan Wine Shop at 36217 Plymouth has SDM and SDD liquor license and is 335 feet from the proposed site. Punjab Suite at 36071 Plymouth has a Class C license and is 163 feet from the proposed site. Time Out Bar at 36480 Plymouth has a Class C license and is 910 feet from the proposed site. We would recommend that the Planning Department and City Council take into consideration these separate requirement guidelines. It is in our opinion that these guidelines are good for local established businesses and maintains Livonia's family atmosphere. Signed, Jeff Ronayne, Special Services Bureau. From the Traffic Department of the Livonia Police Department, I have reviewed the plans in connection with the petition. I have no objections to the proposal. Signed, Paul Walters, Traffic Bureau. From the Fire Department, the office has reviewed the site plan submitted in conjunction with the request to modify a commercial building on property located at the above referenced address. We have no objection to the proposal. Follow the appropriate procedures with the state and/or city to obtain Class C liquor license. A further detailed plan review will take place when the division receives an official plan set. Signed, Brian Kukla, Fire Marshal. And finally, from our engineering department, in accordance with the request, the engineering division has reviewed the above referenced petition. We have no objection to the proposed waiver use at this time. The subject parcel is assigned the range of addresses 36083 through 36175 Plymouth Road and with the address of 36163 Plymouth Road being assigned to the overall parcel. The legal description submitted with the petition appears to be correct for the overall parcel, not the individual units requesting the waiver use. The existing parcel is currently served by public water main, sanitary sewer, and stormwater. The submittal does not indicate any changes to the existing utility leads, so we do not believe there will be any additional impacts to the public utilities with the proposal. Should changes to the existing building leads be needed, the owner shall submit proposed drawings to the department to determine if permits will be required. Also, should any work be required within the Plymouth Road right-of-way, the owner may be required to obtain permits from the Michigan Department of Transportation. This is signed, David Lear, Assistant City Engineer. And that is all the correspondence.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Uhasi. Is there any questions for our planning staff? I don't see any. Our petitioner is in the audience. If you would like to come forward to our podium. Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Again, we'll ask that you start with your name and address.
My name is Kevin Ramaya. I will be the owner at the Papa Romanos, 36131 or 36127
All right.
Plymouth Road.
Thank you, Mr. Romaya. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about your proposal?
For the restaurant is going to be it's going to be a carry-out and a dine-in with, we're hoping to get the beer and wine liquor license. We would like to, our main focus is going to be on the food, along with the beer and wine there.
Okay. And is there, what is your experience in this business?
I've been with Papa Romanos since 1996. I sold the store in 2004. So I was with them for about close to between 8 and 9 years.
Okay.
But I've been in the pizza business since I was 25 years old, the last 28 years.
Okay. All right, very good.
If I may add, Commissioner,
Certainly, you are.
I am I'm Mr. O'Meara's attorney.
Okay.
I'm handling his liquor license application
Okay.
to the city and to the state of Michigan. He's also had a gas station which had beer, wine, and liquor, so STD and STM. I was his attorney that entire time. He never so much as had a violation, a sale to a minor, anything like that. His record was impeccable. So paired, great MLCC licensure, which is going great right now for our application process, paired with his experience as a Papa Romanos franchisee. They thought it would be a great fit for him, to try this new concept out. If anybody was going to spearhead to see if that concept was going to work, it was going to be Mr. Romaya.
Okay, and do you have a name and business address?
Yes, sir. I can give you my card. Our address should be on the application.
You can just say it for
Okay.
our record.
For the record, my name is Alex Shalal, attorney for Mr. Romaya, the applicant. My legal address for my office is 255 South Old Woodward, Birmingham, Suite 304.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shalal. That way we can attribute your comments to you,
Sure.
instead of just putting Mr. Romaya's attorney.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, that's good. Good start. Let's see if we have any questions for either of you. Any questions for our petitioner?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Long?
Mr. Ramaya, I know it's not your liability, but the tax bill notification that we received here for the landlord, that's something that you're going to want to bring to the landlord's attention immediately.
The taxes were paid, and I think we have a copy of the paid taxes.
Okay.
They were paid probably about 2 weeks ago by the landlord. Maybe it hasn't been reflected in the record yet.
It's possible, our memo's dated September 30th,
Oh,
so it's
okay.
possible that,
I do have a photocopy of the tax bill.
Okay.
I could submit that. I'm almost positive we submitted receipt of the tax bill to the planning commission via email. If not, I can have that resent tomorrow morning.
if you could resend it, I think that'd be best for all involved.
Thank you, Mr. Long.
Whereas you may still, get your approval here. I'm sure city council isn't going to
No,
move
right,
it
exactly.
without seeing that. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Any other questions for our petitioner? Mr. Ventura?
Chairman, thank you. You're going to have a liquor license there, a Class C license. Why do you need an SDM license?
For delivery. A lot of times people want to order pizza and they want, instead of going out to pick up a 12-pack or a 6-pack of beer, they can just order the pizza and have it delivered with it.
How do you verify that the recipient of the liquor, when you deliver, is?
Our drivers will be trained. They're all going to take the SERVE program, which they'll be trained on how to handle situations.
All his, including the applicant himself, but all the employees there will have the tips and TAMs training for to make sure they card everybody. When the driver arrives at the house, he'll ask for identification, to make sure the person's 21 years of age or older. They have 100% policy. I mean, even if the person's got a beard like me, they're gonna ask for, age verification.
Thank you. What percentage of your business do you anticipate will be takeout?
It's really hard to say. This is a new concept for Papa Romano's. It's, this is gonna be the first store. We really don't know like what percentage the alcohol sales are gonna be.
We're expecting it to be incidental to the, vastly more of this will be catering pizza and pasta and all the like-minded things. Because they wanted us to try out a concept that had a restaurant, we had to pursue getting a Class C and the SDM. We don't anticipate, an overabundance of alcoholic sales, but obviously, for a restaurant, it's important to have.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Ventura. Mr. Bonjero?
Just a couple easy questions. Hours of operation?
We're looking at maybe like 10 to 10, maybe 10 to 11 on weekends.
Okay. And then how many employees do you anticipate hiring?
It all depends on business. We probably have, we're overall, it's probably gonna be about maybe 15 to 20 people.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions for our petitioner?
Yeah, I do, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Caremack,
Something we talked about last, at the study session was the big dining area that, on your drawing here, it shows up as really nothing. What's the plan for that big area? Is that gonna be a party room? Is it going to be,
No.
what is that going to be? It's a big area.
Yeah, we're gonna have a few seats for when people walk in and order their pizza, and maybe a cooler for like the pop in the front. If, depending on how the business goes, we're maybe looking to do maybe like a buffet for lunch or something like that, and set up like the buffet tables.
Okay,
I think it will be largely a flex space.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Largely a flex space, so like people waiting for their food, there'll be, tables and chairs there. If they decide to do a buffet for, pizza, ribs, stuff like that, they can also use that area.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go back to something Pete asked earlier about the delivering of beer, wine. Will you deliver just beer and wine if someone orders that, or does it always come with a pizza?
It always comes with pizza.
Always with pizza, yeah.
It won't be just
No.
No,
alcohol sales delivered to a home?
no.
And then if someone's catering a party, say someone's got a party, they need 40 pizzas, and they want 16 cases of beer, that's all within your wheelhouse there?
Well, hopefully. We're gonna try to cater to our, to our customers. I don't think 16 cases of beer, we're not gonna have too many people, people that are gonna order that, a large quantity like that, but if somebody wants, yeah, we can, provide for, a party that big.
The same rules apply, even though there's gonna be more than a person ordering pizza, you're gonna have, say you delivered, again, 40 pizzas and 16 cases of beer. You're feeding not just one or two or five people, you're gonna feed 70 people.
Yes.
That's, how do you control who's getting their hands on that beer?
Well,
Or
we're
is
gonna,
that come not your responsibility once the person pays the bill?
well, We're hoping the person who, the person who buys the pizza and the beer is over 21, and we're hoping they're responsible enough to, you know, take care of that part.
Commissioner, so a lot of times, you know, so if somebody were to have a catering license, or if you were to cater make delivery with beer, wine, you know, obviously we ask for that person's age. The person that's hosting the party would have to obviously pass age verification. But a lot of times, if you know, go to these catering events, the people passing out a beer or wine that received it from a place, you know, it's up to them to card to make sure that people are of the right age. Obviously, we would do everything in our power to make sure that the host or hostess is over the legal limit, and that if we could have policies that if the driver notices it's just a bunch of kids and a random 21-year-old ordered, you know, he'd say, hey, this doesn't look right. You know, they'll have policies like that. Again, they're gonna go through the tips and TAMS training, and all his employees and drivers will be certified.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't think you can patrol or control every party that's out there, but I could envision a 21-year-old kid supplying his friends here, and as long as you think your delivery person has the mental capacity to control whether or not they deliver 4 cases of beer somewhere, I think if that's what your training consists of, maybe that's how it works, but you certainly can't control every situation. I'm just concerned with the possibilities, that's all.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Caremagno. Any other questions for our petitioner? Mr. Shalal, maybe it's appropriate to ask you, since you're more of an expert probably in this field, the delivery of beer and wine, is that I believe that's a new thing that started during COVID, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that wasn't allowed prior to.
So prior to that, there were certain licenses the MLCC, Michigan Liquor Control Commission, was exploring. There were companies actually set up before COVID that their whole purpose was going to be taking beer, wine, liquor from a regular liquor store and having the ability to give it to its customers. That's still in a gray area right now with the MLCC. They don't outright prohibit it, but there's not something that outright also gives you a license to do it per se. In our situation, the reason we are going for the SDM on top of the Class C is so that if a patron were to come into the store and ask for a 6-pack of beer with their pizza, we have that available to them. Or if we have it with our drivers, we would do that. But we are not going to be an alcoholic delivery company where we come and somebody calls us, I just need a 6-pack of beer. Every single alcoholic delivery will also have to be accompanied by a food item.
Okay. All right, thank you for that information. I appreciate that. If there's no other questions from any of the commissioners, I'll look to see if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak for or against this item. There's one person in the audience who's welcome to come forward. Gentlemen, if you want to just sit down for a moment, we'll give the residents a chance to speak. Don't go too far, though. Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon,
Hi.
everybody. My name is Van Salem. I own the Levan Wine Shop right next to the location they're trying to open up. I have nothing against anybody trying to do any kind of business. We've been there for over 15 years. We've spent over $600,000 in the past 3 years in the store with renovations. We're a big toll to the community. You know, we donate, to churches, schools, whatever we could provide. But, you know, it just seemed that we have liquor, beer, wine, and we have a full kitchen with the pizzas, ribs, chicken, everything. I just don't feel like this is the right thing for us to do within 300 feet next to us. I feel like it's not necessary. It's already cluttered with multiple businesses having liquor, beer, and wine. You know, gas stations, luckily, they don't have no beer and wine. We have Time Out across the street. That's a bar right there. This is pretty much the same thing. So I just feel like all the hard work and tax we put in all the stuff we do in the city of Livonia, I should have some kind of respect and not trying to prove the liquor sales.
Okay, we appreciate your comments. Thank you, Mr. Salem.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against this petition? I don't see anyone else coming forward. Is there anything else that you gentlemen wanted to say before we made our decision? I see heads shaking no. Okay. All right. If there's no other questions for our petitioner, I'll I'll close the public hearing, and a motion would be in order.
Mr. Chair. Oh, go ahead, Glenn. Take it.
I got that in stereo. That's pretty good.
All right.
All right, Mr. Long.
I will offer an approving resolution that the request to utilize an SDM liquor license in connection with the operations of a full-service restaurant at 36111 and 36127 Plymouth Road is hereby approved, subject to city council approval, and the following conditions. Number one, that this approval is subject to city council waiving the 500-foot separation requirement between SDM licensed establishments and the 1,000-foot separation requirement between Class C licensed establishments. Number two, that the maximum customer seating count shall not exceed a total of 33 interior seats. Number three, that only conforming signage is approved with this petition, and any additional signage shall be separately submitted for review and approval by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Number four, that no LED light band or exposed neon shall be permitted on this site, including but not limited to the building or around the windows. Number five, that unless approved by the proper local authority, any type of exterior advertising such as promotional flags, streamers, or sponsor vehicles designed to attract the attention of passing motorists shall be prohibited. And number six, pursuant to section 13.13 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended, this approval is valid for a period of 1 year only from the date of approval by the city council, and unless a building permit is obtained, this approval shall be null and void at the expiration of said period.
Is there support?
Support?
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Long, supported by Mr. Bonjero. This is to approve. Is there any discussion on that motion? If there's no discussion, if the secretary is ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Bonjero.
Aye.
Mr. Ventura.
Aye.
Caremagno votes aye. Chairman Wilshaw.
Votes aye, motion passes. I'll go to city council with an approving recommendation. And we wish you luck on your projects, gentlemen. Thank you for coming tonight. We now move on to the miscellaneous items section of our agenda, item number 3.
Petition 2024-09-08-06, submitted by CESO on behalf of Walmart, requesting approval of all plans required by sections 3.11 and 13.13 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended in connection with a proposal to construct a 1,272 square foot addition for grocery pickup to the west end of the existing Walmart building at 29555 Plymouth Road, located on the south side of Plymouth Road between Middlebelt Road and Milburn Street in the northeast quarter of section 35.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Uhazy.
Thank you. The site is comprised of 22 acres with 217 feet of frontage on Plymouth Road, and the property is currently zoned C2 general business. The existing building is 217,561 square feet, and the addition would be 1,272 square feet. The area is currently occupied by a portion of the existing outdoor goods storage area. The new floor area total would be 218,833 square feet. It would be used for storage of additional online sales pickup operations. And the setbacks for the site are, on C2, are 15 feet, and the addition would comply with that. Parking is largely unchanged, with the existing drive lane to the west of the building and shelving units would be replaced with 13 parking spaces. And a pedestrian walkway would provide access from the addition to online grocery store pickup parking area. The parking reconfiguration would result in a net gain of 12 spaces. They do have an agreement with inspection for seasonal truck storage on the site, and that would be in these parking spaces along the western border. That does not interfere with the proposed parking changes. And then I also have some correspondence.
Okay, if you'd like to read that out.
I have reviewed the address connected with the above noted petition. As there are no outstanding amounts receivable, general or water and sewer, I have no objections to the proposal. Signed, Connie Cupola, Chief Accountant. From the Inspection Department, pursuant to your request, the above referenced petition has been reviewed. The proposed plan does not address the seasonal storage containers that occupy the parking storage on the southwest side of the parking lot. The items need to be addressed as it conflicts with the proposed plan. I have attached the site plan and email regarding the seasonal storage of this letter for reference. One note is that this letter was received from when reviewing the old plans that were affecting those parking. The new updated plans do not affect that, but they still want to make sure that we address the seasonal parking.
Okay, thank you.
And this is signed Jerome Hanna, Director of Inspection. I have reviewed the plans in connection with the petition. I have no objections to the proposal. Signed Paul Walters, the Sergeant of the Traffic Bureau. From the Fire Department, the office has reviewed the site plan submitted in connection with a request to construct a commercial building on property located at the above referenced address. We have no objection to the proposal with the following stipulations. Construction of structures and/or roadways cannot create an obstruction for emergency vehicles access around the existing building. Fire hydrants and FDCs must be accessible at all time. A further detailed site review will take place when the division receives an official plan set. Signed, Brian Kukla, Fire Marshal. And finally, from the Engineering Department, in accordance with your request, Engineering Division has reviewed the above referenced petition. We have no objections to the proposed project at this time, but would like to note the following items. The subject parcel is assigned address of 29555 Plymouth Road. Should additional addresses be needed, the owner will need to contact this department once permitting has been completed. The existing parcel is currently serviced by public sanitary sewer and water main and stormwater. The submitted drawings do not indicate any proposed utility alterations, so we do not believe there will be any impacts to the existing system with the proposed project. Number 3, any disturbances with the Plymouth Road right-of-way will require permits through the Michigan Department of Transportation. Any work with the Middle Belt right-of-way will require permitting through Wayne County Department of Public Service. Signed, David Lear, Assistant City Engineer.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yahazi, for the correspondence. Is there any questions for our planning staff? Seeing no questions, our petitioner is in the audience. Feel free to come forward. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Ben Dariano, WD Partners, 7007 Discovery Boulevard, Columbus, Ohio, 43015.
Thank you for coming to our meeting tonight. And what would you like to tell us about your petition?
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you again. Walmart is proposing an expansion a little bit under 1,300 square feet to the building. The space, with also renovating part of the interior, will be about 3,000 square feet totally dedicated to their online pickup ordering. And as Jacob noted, we are going to expand the parking for the services. This program normally operates in 8 to 8 hours of operation. We are working with the photometrics, get them to Jacob to make them fully compliant for the site. It looks like we're going to need to upgrade the light poles and add a wall pack for customer and employee safety on the site. We will be parking compliant. Part of this program is that customers will not enter that space. That space is for employees only. Customers will pull into their spot, call the number, provide their order number to the Walmart employees, and then the employees will load their vehicles for them.
Okay. And will there be a sign for them to know what number to call?
Yes, there is stall signage in each stall. It shows a parking stall number. If you're here for the online ordering, call this number and provide your order information.
Okay, oh, I see, it makes sense now. All right, anything else you'd like to tell us about your petition?
No?
All right, is there any questions for our petitioner?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Caremagna?
Sir, tell us a little bit about the lighting, the new lighting going in on that side as it compares to the rest of the lighting on your property. How does that compare?
So it will be a little bit brighter due to having to meet the photometrics. We received the photometrics late last week. I do believe Jacob got those from the engineer recently, and then I have a copy also. So due to having to add a little bit more lighting for the operations just to keep everyone a bit safer. We'll be upgrading the lights on 2 of the light poles back there and then adding a wall pack floodlight unit back there.
And that lighting to be shielded not to leave that property?
Yes.
Okay. How's it compared to our, what's allowed? I'm looking at numbers here that are 5, 6, 7 foot, is that candle power at the ground?
Yeah, I believe so, but that's just, the photometrics that we received was just that portion of the, that site. So the ordinance requires for the entire site. So that average is a little bit higher than what is shown on the, what would be taking the entire site into consideration.
Okay, so this is more intense than what the rest of the site will be?
Yeah, this would be more intense for this area, but considering the overall site, it should be compliant.
You don't think it's gonna be a daylight situation?
No, I don't believe so.
And these lights, they run from dark to dark, or what are they?
Typically dark to dark they'll run.
It's a 24-hour operation?
No, the operation is 8 to 8, but typically Walmart's parking lots are lit 24 hours a day in the evenings, just for safety of anyone out there.
Okay.
It would be noticeably brighter than what's existing out there right now.
It would be noticeably
It
brighter?
would not be.
Okay.
And the only light, it's my understanding, that would be added is a light that faces basically the addition facing the auto center, so it's not even facing out towards the edge of the property. It's facing internally between the two ends of the building.
Good enough, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caremagno. Any other questions? There's no one in our audience wishing to speak on this item, I believe. Okay. Anything else you'd like to let us know before we make our decision?
No, thank you. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you for coming, and I will go to our commission to make a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Bonjero.
I'd like to offer an approving resolution that the request to construct a 1,272 square foot addition to the existing Walmart Supercenter at 29555 Plymouth Road is hereby approved, subject to city council approval and the following conditions. 1, site plan identified as OGP-2.0 dated September 5th, 2024 as amended, prepared by CESO is hereby approved and shall be adhered to. Number 2, all parking spaces except the required handicap spaces shall be double striped at 10 feet wide by 20 feet in length as required. The elevations plan identified as A2 dated June 3rd, 2024 as amended, prepared by WD Partners is hereby approved and shall be adhered to. Number 4, all seasonal truck parking shall conform to the storage container exhibit as referenced and attached in the correspondence from the inspection department, which designates the area maximum number and time period seasonal storage containers can be parked on site. Number 5, that only conforming signage is approved with this petition, and any additional signage shall be separately submitted for review and approval by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Number 6, no unshielded LED light band or neon shall be permitted on the site, including the building or around the windows. Number 7, unless approved by the proper local authority, any type of exterior advertising such as promotional flags, streamers, or sponsor vehicles designed to attract the attention of passing motorists shall be prohibited. Number 8, the specific plans referenced in this approving resolution shall be submitted to the inspection department at the time the building permits are applied for. And number 9, pursuant to section 13.13 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended, this approval is valid for a period of 1 year only from the date of approval by city council, and unless a building permit is obtained, the approval shall be null and void at the expiration of said period.
Is there support?
Support.
All right. Mr. Bonjero, you've been trying to get the approving motion in all night. You finally got your chance. You got your big moment.
Stand down.
All right, we have an approving motion by Mr. Bonjero, supported by Mr. Ventura. Is there a discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, if the secretary is ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Bonjero.
Aye.
Mr. Ventura.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Caremagno votes aye. Chairman Wilshaw.
Votes aye, and motion goes on to, or petition goes on to the city council with an approving recommendation. Thank you, sir, for coming tonight, and thank you for coming. We're all set. Now we have the pending items section of our agenda. There is one item, Mr. Secretary.
And that is petition 2024-08-01-04, submitted by Skill King Gold under section 13.15 Livonia zoning ordinance is amended, requesting to rezone the property at 37355 8 Mile Road, located on the southeast corner of 8 Mile Road and Newburgh Road in the northwest quarter of section 5 from C1 local business, to C2, general business.
All right, this item was tabled at our previous meeting. Is there a motion to remove this item from the table?
I'll make that motion.
And is there support?
Support it.
All right, that's by Caremagno, supported by Bonjero. If there's no objection, I think we'll show 5 to take this item off the table. Mr. Uhazy, the petitioner has sent us a letter requesting that this item be postponed or tabled to the October 22nd meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so with that, we're going to respect, as we always do, the request of the petitioner to move this item to that date, if someone's willing to make a motion to table this item again.
I'll make that motion.
All right, this is a motion to table the item to October 22nd, made by Mr. Caremagno. Is there support?
Support.
That is by Mr. Bonjero. And there is no discussion on tabling motions. If the secretary could show or call the roll for the tabling.
Caremagno votes aye. Mr. Bonjero?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Ventura?
Aye.
Chairman Wilshaw?
Votes aye. That item has been retabled. And now we have one item left on our agenda, which is item number 5.
And that is the approval of the minutes of the 1,219th public hearing and regular meeting held by the Planning Commission on September 10th, 2024.
All members of the commission were present with the exception of Mr. Bonjero. Is there someone willing to make a motion to approve those?
So moved.
That's Mr. Ventura, supported by
Support.
Mr. Long. If there's no objection, we can show 4 with Mr. Bonjero abstaining, and those minutes will be approved. That takes us to the end of our agenda. Is there any other business to come before the commission? If not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
We got Mr. Long and Mr. Ventura on the adjourning motion. Is there any objection to showing 5 on that? I hear no objection. We'll show 5 on the adjournment. And that takes us to the end of our meeting. We do want to thank Livonia City Television staff for bringing this meeting to the community. And with that, we are going to adjourn this, adjourn this meeting at 8:07 p.m. Good night, Livonia.